the World Health Organization is a corrupt organization. They're nothing more than a puppet for the Chinese government. We don't have to guess about that. We know that because we saw what happened shortly after COVID took place. We saw how they were complicit in trying to cover up what happened, how they stopped the flow of information. I'll tell you that the Biden administration, it boggles my mind. This is just another one of the many reasons that one of the many things that they've done to put America last and to make us part of some world governance that they see us being part of in the future. We are a sovereign country. No other country is going to tell us. Another country will not determine how, if, and when we can protect ourselves during a future pandemic. And no other country is going to use American taxpayer dollars as their piggy bank or their slush fund and spend it whenever and however they see fit.
On March 23rd, I asked Secretary of State Blinken and the House Foreign Affairs Committee about the Biden administration's push, and it's an aggressive push, to enter a binding international pandemic treaty that would cede American sovereignty to the World Health Organization. The Zero Draft WHO treaty, and there is a treaty here, and they're working on it, that Biden administration and others are pushing, starts off with very harsh criticism of the United States and said during the pandemic, COVID, we had a catastrophic failure in how we responded to it. Article 4 pays lip service to sovereignty and then completely overcomes that lip service by saying, quote, provided that activities within their jurisdiction or control do not cause damage to their people and other countries, which empowers WHO to step in and prescribe what each country would do. Article 10 of the treaty says the U.S. would be obligated to provide 20% of our medical supplies, including tests, vaccinations, and medications, to WHO. They say, we want it, we have to provide it. Blinken did not respond to my specific concerns. He said they're not working on a COVID treaty. Nobody asked him that. They're working on a so-called pandemic treaty. And again, we've got the draft right here.
In case it still needs to be said, the Chinese Communist Party is on a quest to supplant America as the world's #1 superpower. And because of Joe Biden's weakness and ineptitude and inability to lead, the CCP, unfortunately, is succeeding. For instance, hundreds of Americans will die today from Chinese fentanyl being pumped through our open southern borders. The CCP is buying up our farmland, pushing propaganda on our universities, stealing our technology, and spying on Americans through apps like TikTok. Biden is allowing the CCP's influence at every single turn. The World Health Organization is absolutely a prime example. Trump took us out. Biden has put us back in. And for what benefit? China runs it. If we continue to bow to globalist organizations who don't act in the interest of our own country, we will continue to be hurt. Look no further than the WHO and how they handled COVID, the lockdowns, the repression, the lack of transparency and truth. The last thing we need is to be put under the heel of the World Health Organization and lose our sovereignty. We cannot afford to surrender not another inch of our independence and autonomy to Beijing or to those who do its bidding. And so China, remember, is no longer our friend and really never was.
We consistently get calls every single day asking why we're still involved in the WHO. Why are we still there? And I'm proud to support Congressman Biggs' bill for us to pull out again. Because we have to remember, President Trump stood up to China, left the WHO, and restored American sovereignty. President Biden was quick to rejoin as soon as he took office because he is beholden to China. We're seeing that more and more and every day with what's going on in the Judiciary Committee and the Oversight Committee. And he's not committed to America, the country he leads.
They most certainly don't want to take their marching orders during the next medical crisis or pandemic from an even more corrupt global body like the WHO. And that's why I've supported multiple pieces of legislation, the WHO Withdrawal Act from my colleague, Congressman Andy Biggs from Arizona, the no taxpayer funding for the World Health Organization from Chip Roy, and I will continue to support any piece of legislation, any resolution, any letter that will maintain our sovereignty and keep our freedom and liberty intact and keep us away from these global organizations like the WHO who do not have the American people's best interests or their health in mind.
It is outrageous that Joe Biden is working to give the WHO and its Director General more power over sovereign nations, including the United States. The United States and only the United States should decide the laws that bind us. We must not cede any further U.S. sovereignty to anyone, including the WHO. Unelected foreigners with legislative power over American citizens would have our founders rolling in their graves. And it must stop now.